we all know that AI agents are incredibly powerful, right? But even the smartest ones have their limits. They're geniuses with language, but what happens when you need them to do something really specific, something they just weren't built for out of the box? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into today. How you can give your AI its very own custom toolkit to seriously level up its abilities.
So let's start by looking at a surprisingly common problem, a simple little blind spot that can trip up even the most advanced AI agents. And it really shows why these custom tools are so darn essential. I mean, really think about it for a second. You've got this brilliant AI that can write a sonnet or analyze super complex documents, but can it reliably tell you what 12 times 8 is? And you might be shocked to hear this, but a lot of the time, they can't. See, large language models are masters of language. They're not calculators. They often just, well, they hallucinate answers to math problems. So how do we fix that? So really, you've got two ways you could go about this. On one hand, you could try to hard code every single possible math problem into the agent. It's just a nightmare. It's complex, it's rigid, and it's totally inefficient. Or you could take the other path. Just give the agent a custom tool. Now, this approach is simple, it's flexible, and it's way, way more powerful. And this brings us to the really cool part. Instead of trying to teach the agent how to do math from scratch, we're just going to give it a superpower, a special tool it can pull out and use whenever it needs to. This is the secret sauce for expanding what your agents can do. So what is a custom tool, at least in the world of CrewAI? Well, simply put, it's a way to let an agent perform a very specific task, like using a calculator or checking a database or processing a file, without you having to bake all that logic directly into the agent itself. It's kind of like handing a carpenter a hammer instead of asking them to build a new one for every single nail. Okay, theory is one thing, but let's actually see this in action. We're going to build a super simple but really effective calculator tool step by step so you can see exactly how this whole thing works. All right, first things first, and this is probably the most important part. It all kicks off with this one little line of code, the @tool decorator. Think of this as a special sticker or tag that you slap onto a function. It's basically you telling CrewAI, hey, see this piece of code right here? This is a tool. My agents can use this. Let's zoom in on that line for a sec. The @tool part is the decorator itself. That bit in the parentheses, calculator, that's the name we're giving our tool. And that name is super important because it's the exact name the AI agent will use when it realizes it needs to do some math. Step 2, super straightforward if you've ever touched Python. We're just defining a completely normal function. We'll call it calculator, and we'll design it to take in just one thing, a string of text, which we're calling query. And that query is going to be the math problem we want to solve, like 12 times 5 plus 3. And here it is, the engine of our new tool. The core logic is literally just one line, eval query. The eval function in Python is kind of magical because it does exactly what the AI can't do on its own. It takes that string of text, sees it as a pure math problem, and just solves it. This is what perfectly turns 12 times 5 plus 3 into the number 96. Okay, now for a quick but really important heads up, and this comes straight from the source material. While eval is perfect for a simple example like this one, you have to be super careful with it. It will run any code you give it, which can be a huge security risk if that input is coming from somewhere you don't trust. So for a real-world app, you definitely want to use a much safer way to do the math. All right, our tool is built, but a tool is pretty useless if no one's there to use it. So next up, let's put together the AI crew that's actually going to use this thing to get the job done. So here's our team. We're creating two very different agents. First up, we have the researcher. Its whole goal is to do research and compute things. And notice that special tool column? Yep, we've given it our brand new calculator tool. Then we have the writer. Its job is just to summarize the results. And crucially, the writer does not get the calculator tool. Why? Because it doesn't need it. We're giving the right tool to the right specialist for the job. And here is their mission, laid out plain and simple. It's a two-parter. First, calculate the expression 12 times 5 plus 3. Second, write a summary about that result. This is going to require both of our agents to work together, one after the other. The tool's ready, the crew's assembled, the mission is set. Now it's time for the fun part. Let's see it all work together. Let's kick things off. And with one simple command, we set them loose. The first task gets handed off to the first agent, and the whole process just starts rolling.
And boom, here's the magic. You can actually see the researcher agent thinking. It goes, okay, I need to solve this expression. And it knows that this is a job for its special tool. So it calls the calculator, feeds it the problem, and gets the perfect answer, 96. In this transparency, being able to see its thought process, that's one of the coolest parts about working with these agents. Then comes the handoff. The researcher's result, that number 96, gets passed over to the writer. The writer, doing what it does best, takes that simple number and spins up a whole summary report about it. Each agent did exactly what it was supposed to do. Mission accomplished. Now, a calculator is a fantastic way to get your head around the concept, right? But the real power here, this idea goes way, way beyond simple math. The possibilities are huge when you start applying this to complex, real-world problems. I mean, just think about what you could do. In education, maybe a tool that writes quiz questions for students. For researchers, a tool that automatically scrapes data from scientific papers. For content creators, maybe a tool that perfectly formats an article for your blog. And in business, how about a tool that connects to a live stock market API for instant financial analysis? Basically, any specialized, repeatable task is a perfect candidate for a custom tool.
So that really brings us to the big question for you. Now that you've seen just how easy it is to give an AI a brand new skill, the only limit is really your imagination. If you could give your AI agent any tool, any new superpower to solve a problem that you have, what would it be?